Razz Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. The sequel is set in 1927, where Grindelwald is on the loose and he believes that Credence, from the previous Fantastic Beasts, is actually the key to his evil plans. So Newt Scamander is asked by younger, sexier Dumbledore, or Younger Door, to go to Paris to find Credence, protect him, and stop Grindelwald. Or Grindelwald. Actually, some people call him Grindelwald, some people call him Grindelwald. I don't know which one is true. He has a British accent, so I'm gonna stick with Grindelwald. I was actually looking forward to this movie, and unfortunately, it's not as good as I wanted it to be, and it actually ended up being kind of confusing. And this movie is basically a good story, not well told. And if you're not a Harry Potter fan or just a casual fan, this movie will not make sense to you. It's very, very heavy on lore, and it's gonna be gibberish. This movie is written by J.K. Rowling herself, and this only proves that a great novelist is not technically a great screenwriter. Look, no one can deny the talent of this woman with this amazing world that she's built. It's so captivating that even in this film that is kind of a mess, I still enjoyed being there. It helps that the soundtrack is as awesome as it is all the time in all the Harry Potter movies. The production design is still breathtaking, the sets are beautiful, the magic looks really cool and sounds really cool, the sound design is incredible, the costumes and the outfits were amazing. I'm in love with Grindelwald's trench coat. If I was in that world, I would follow Grindelwald's trench coat, evil or not. It's just amazing. The beasts are also pretty cool and they look amazing. The Niffler is back and I love the Niffler, I still want one. And also there's this new tiger, dragon, cat thing that's actually pretty cool. I think it's called a Zao. I still like Newt Scamander and I think he's a very interesting and intriguing character, and I still love Jacob. However, I wish that Jacob had a better storyline. In this movie, his story and Queenie's story was just lame. I really think that they ruined Queenie's character in this film, unfortunately. I thought she was great in the previous film, and here she's just no. And the two of them even being in the events of the film didn't make sense. Jude Law as sexy Younger Door was awesome. I wish there was way more of him in the movie, and I wish that we got to explore his relationship with Grindelwald a lot more than we did. But I really enjoyed the character, I loved the scenes, and I really liked Jude Law's interpretation of the character, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the next films. Him and the scenes in Hogwarts were actually the highlight of the film. I loved it. The moment we saw Hogwarts and we heard that theme music, the nostalgia was high. But it wasn't just that. I felt that the scenes in Hogwarts are where director David Yates felt the most comfortable. These scenes were really the best and most well-directed parts of the movie, and they had generally a better flow to them. And I guess it makes sense since arguably he directed the best Harry Potter films, because otherwise this is not one of his best work. The pacing of this film is very off, the editing is weird, and he uses a lot of these weird super close-up awkward shots for no reason, and even the transition between scenes is so weird and abrupt, it feels like you took a portkey yourself. But the directing is not the main problem of this film. It's the script. This movie is written like a novel, and there's so many subplots and so many unnecessary scenes and details that seem to go nowhere. The film feels over-bloated and overstuffed, and it gets very overwhelming and confusing a lot of the time. I mean, the movie's called Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. What crimes? I don't know. What do the beasts have to do with the crimes of Grindelwald? They don't. What ended up happening is that this film feels like a bunch of films pushed together and mixed together where they don't actually belong. You have the previous four characters from Fantastic Beasts with their weird storylines and nonsensical motivations for being there in the first place, but they're there because they're part of the franchise and they're part of the first film, so they're forced to be there and they don't make any sense. And on the other hand, you have Dumbledore and Grindelwald and his evil plot and his search for Credence and the question of who Credence is, all melded together into one thing. And on top of that, you have Lita Lestrange and her Mexican soap opera family drama that also actually goes nowhere. So all of these storylines and subplots are kind of mushed together into this weird, confusing lasagna that makes no sense. And there are so many characters in this movie. People pop up and get introduced and you just don't know who to follow or who's important and why. Like, for example, Nagini is there. She's a human, a maledictus, and she's there. Why? I don't know. Her storyline literally goes nowhere. She's just there. Why? They spend an entire scene introducing this character called Bundy in the beginning of the film, and you'd think she's gonna be very important, and then she never comes back. Like, why? Why is Bundy? Hashtag, why is Bundy? The thing is, if all the characters are important, nobody is, and you can't connect or care or feel about anybody. And the annoying part is that the movie has a lot of cool moments, and these characters have a lot of cool character moments, but you end up watching this movie and you're like, wow, that was really cool. But why? Or wow, that was really cool. But how? And speaking of but how, this film introduces the major dramatic question of who is Credence? Everybody wants to know what his real identity is. Apparently there's a real identity that we need to find out for some reason. And at the end of the film, that question is answered and we find out who Credence is. And the reaction is, huh? It doesn't make any sense. The timeline doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of contradiction to the lore. The whole thing is just a big mess. And that's the thing, the more you think about this movie, the more it falls apart. Even though it actually sets up a lot of interesting and intriguing storylines. But a film being only set up is never enough. It has to have a good story and a good plot for us to follow. And this film didn't have that. It was just a big convoluted mess, and I still kind of enjoyed it. I didn't have a terrible time because it's still in the wizarding world and I still think it's intriguing. So for now, the Fantastic Beasts franchise is officially on notice. It's not destroyed, but a lot of improvement needs to happen for this franchise to move forward. And I'm gonna give Fantastic Beasts Crimes of Grindelwald a 5.5 out of 10. So, have you seen Crimes of Grindelwald? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section, and feel free to talk some spoilers, but always spoiler tag those comments. And as always, like, share, and subscribe, but don't forget to ask me what you'd like me to review for you next. See ya!